So I'm outside taking a nice nature walk, and I want to talk about something interesting. Does a smartphone connect or disconnect us? So there's been a big debate, if you haven't noticed lately, about smartphones and technology in general, and how it affects this generation, my generation, and those kids who are younger than me. Will this make us better people, worse people, lazy, hardworking? Is it fostering a new age of entrepreneurs, or is it fostering a next age of people who don't want to get out of their parents' basement? This is the question everyone's asking, and lots of people are worried about. I'm not so much worried about it, such as curious. And when it comes down to smartphones, social media, which I think is the root of a lot of these opposition, is that we're not so much talking about the smartphone, such as social media. We're talking about something that captures our attention. Now, we could look back and see the same arguments going for TV, phone, radio, right? All these different new technologies that have emerged is that there's always been opposition. There's always been people for it. There's always been people against it. And yes, of course, can TV be used for bad and good? Of course. It depends on the person receiving this. And I think the question here is not whether smartphones, social media, online dating, and you can go anywhere with this. Not necessarily does it disconnect or connect us, is it good or bad? But rather, are you emotionally intelligent enough to use it appropriately? You have to know yourself. You have to be aware of yourself and say, this is good for me. At the time, I really believe that at the time when I wasn't going on Snapchat, that wasn't the best thing for me. I was busy. I was busy on my other social medias. I was busy with speaking engagements. And once I managed that, and I managed my workflow with that, then I was able to jump on and really learn, understand, and connect with people through there. You've got to understand yourself, what you need, what hurts you, what makes you better. If you see that, okay, YouTube is a huge distraction for me, like it is for me, is that sometimes I have to just completely disable the app and not let myself be tempted by that, because I've realized that it's a weakness of mine. So I've seen that, I know that, and I'm constantly monitoring myself and saying, is this good for me? Is this bad for me? How am I feeling about this? How is this affecting me? Your mind is an incredibly complex yet powerful weapon. We should keep it maintained. We should do constant audits and checks on it. You wouldn't want to go to a doctor's office in a building that has never been checked, or go to a food facility and go to a restaurant that has never been checked. You wouldn't want to do that. So I wouldn't go somewhere like on a social media, Facebook, or even a smartphone without checking yourself and saying, is this good for me? Really analyzing yourself, be honest with yourself. Or this is also a time, maybe if you're depressed, maybe if you're suffering from other mental health challenges, you can't be honest with yourself right now. You don't have that awareness, that perspective. That's okay. But that's what your parents are there for. That's what friends are for, is to be there and say, hey, I don't think this is good for you. I'm here as a friend or as a parent and saying, I don't think this is best for you. I really encourage you not to do this, or I encourage you to do this. I think Instagram is a great way to start growing. Just last week, I convinced my parents and said, hey, my brother needs to get an Instagram account because he loves Legos and he wants to be a Lego builder, work for Lego. And I said, he needs to start an Instagram now, start a YouTube channel, and start posting about Legos so he can learn, he can grow, and now that way he can help himself in life. He's at a point where he could do that. And I saw that about my brother. And even my parents were, hesitant. I said, look, I'll help him through this. I'll audit him. I'll check him. I'll see how things are going. I'll watch him. And see, that's you as a friend. If you notice your friend's doing that, or maybe your friend's getting into something, you say, hey, let me audit you, let me check you. Hey, I don't think this is good for you, or I think this is good for you. Or, be there for them, give them that advice But really, it's just you noticing something and you saying something because you noticed it. That's the best thing you can do, is if you see something, you say something. So know yourself. When it comes to smartphones, social media, technology, none of it's bad. I will never say any of it's bad. In fact, I think it's very good. The smartphone is the reason I'm able to give you YouTube videos. It's the reason I'm able to communicate with hundreds of depressed, anxious, suicidal teenagers and their parents and their friends. That's all due to the smartphone. So if you take away anything from this, I ask that you take away not to immediately classify something like the smartphone, something like a certain food that you're not sure if you really like or not, as something, oh, no. Instead, take an emotional survey of yourself, especially with dealing something serious that can really affect you, such as your social media. Because social media, don't get me wrong, it can cause a lot of bad. I've told many people to get off of their Instagram account because I saw that it was hurting them. Is it hurting me? No. Is it hurting them? Yes. Something like social media is so subjective on the user, it's subjective on you. You need the emotional intelligence, and you need to be aware of yourself. Self-awareness is one of the most powerful things you could ever discover. It's the most powerful habits you can implement into your life, because that will help you know, okay, this is good for me, this is bad for me, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm bad at. I'm gonna do all the good and stay away from the bad. And I'm gonna have an awesome life because of it. That's what I implore you to do, is start monitoring yourself, developing self-awareness in order to live an awesome life. Thank you so much for watching, taking this walk with me as I explore, some interesting topics that maybe don't have a direct tie to mental health, but in the end, I feel that it's important to having a well-rounded being as possible. So if you like these walks, let me know down these just interesting topics. If you have an interesting topic you'd like me to cover, let me know. I would love to learn from you and learn about something new that maybe something I've never thought of before. If you do like it, make sure you're subscribing. I'm dropping daily videos despite even my continued recovery from my wisdom tooth surgery. Still at it, still doing it, and I will see you tomorrow. Be unashamed, stay unashamed.